Hello, and welcome to this first episode of the Four Horsemen. My name is Paul. Myself, along with my fellow builders, have gotten together and formed this build group called the Four Horsemen. Now, our other friends, the Three Blind Mice, George, Lee, and Paul, out of beautiful downtown Las Vegas, have put together a group where they all work on the same casting. Well, we were so impressed with what they did, we decided to form our own group. Hats off to the Three Blind Mice. They're three great builders, and we enjoy working with them so much. Well, anyways, we're starting today with a Chevy Silverado, and the theme is alcohol. Well, let's get started. I've already drilled the post, and we're going to take the car apart and look and see what we got. Just a standard Chevy Silverado. Man, that paint job is just absolutely ugly. I guess it's supposed to look like graffiti or something. The plastic base I don't like. I think I may have a metal base around somewhere that I'm going to use. And let's get started. We're going to put the body in the stripper. Get all that nasty paint off there. Now, again, as I've said in several videos, I use the citrus strip. There are some paint strippers that will work a lot faster than this one, but for the price, and unless you're in a real hurry, this stuff is perfect. You may have to do it more than one time to get some of the harder stuff, or sometimes they put clear on these things, but it'll work. We're going to do a wheel swap. I did find a metal base. Now, what I got here is I got some wheels, and I'm going to stretch the axle all the way over to the right, as you see here. I'm going to take my marker and mark it just slightly to the left of center. So when I cut the axles and I put them in the support tube, they're not going to run into each other. Now I'll switch it to the other side and I'll pull it all the way to the left and mark it just slightly off center. Now you see these two little lines that I put with a permanent marker. That's where I'm going to make the cuts for these wheels on the axle. So when I put it in the tube, they won't touch each other and they won't stick out too far, if you know what I mean. Now here the brass tube. This is the support tube I'm using for the axles. I've taken another axle pin and I've put it all the way through in the axle, so when I cut it, it won't go all the way through the tube. Now I used a file to cut these little grooves. When I'm done, we're going to take some super glue and we're going to put it in those little grooves. Now the reason I put the axle tube in there again, or the axle pin, is so I don't grind or carve all the way through this brass pipe. And when I pull it out, it's a nice clear channel. Now I will go back in with the file and I'll clean out that tube just a little bit more to give it just a little bit more area for the glue to touch and hold the axle in place once we glue it in place. Now you're going to put it inside the base. First off, you may have to file that channel. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and click on that little bell to be alerted to future videos. You have to ensure that when you put that little axle tube in there, that it sits nice and flat and that your wheels don't rub on the base. Make sure it sits nice and low, and again, make sure that it sits flat and even. Now you're going to use some super glue to glue that axle tube in place. Use the gel super glue on this, guys. If you use the liquid or the runnier kind, you're going to, the capillary action will drag that fluid down your tube and it will glue your wheel in place. And I know you'd probably rather have a rolling model than one that just sits on the shelf. We've polished up the body. It doesn't have to be a mirror as long as it just looks good. Now we're going to start painting. First coats you put on here are a light coat, a mist coat, and you want to put several of these mist coats on, letting it dry slightly in between mist coats. this develops what they call a tack coat, and it will allow you to give any future coats that you put on something to grab onto, or a nice tooth, as it's called. Make sure you get all your hard-to-reach areas. Try and get those first if you can. Spray the inside and the outside. Now, as I was painting this, and I noticed that it was starting to build up, it started to look a little bit too bright. The orange for me was a little bit too bright. So I mixed up a little bit better batch, or a different batch, and continued to spray with a little bit darker color. After letting it sit up for a bit, I went ahead and started painting a little bit heavier coats to get the nice gloss and sheen that I wanted. The Redline Shop sells all these Spectre Flame paints and their opaque enamels and like that. John over there at the Redline Shop, his product is incredible, guys. I'm going to leave a link in the comment section of the video here, so you can go to the Redline Shop and check out some of the things he has to sell and things he has to offer. Follow the directions explicitly when it comes to mixing this paint, and make sure that when you're in your garage or your shop, whatever like that, that the temperature is pretty good. If it gets too cold, it's going to take a little bit longer to dry up. Now we need to put on the decals. I'm going with the Jägermeister theme on this one. I like the logos and the way it looks on the race cars and like that, so I figured that this was the way to go. Now, I didn't really get involved with a super fancy paint job on this, because sometimes as you're doing cars like this or doing customs, less is more. Now, the decals, I got these from Kenny Terry, www.kennyterry.com. Kenny does some fantastic, fabulous work. His work is super quality, and he gets things to you really quick. So if you've got a custom paint job coming up, or you just need any kind of decals for your car, your truck, whatever like that, get a hold of Kenny. Now, he does these in all different kinds of scales. Like if you're doing these small 1/64th scale or 1/18s, or if you're doing the plastic model cars, Kenny can definitely help you out. He also has a Facebook page at Waterslide Decals. Please check him out. Kenny Terry does some fantastic work, folks. Please look him up. I like how he incorporated the deer head and the Jägermeister bottle in the decal here. And it looked really, really cool. Now, the thing is here when you're messing with decals, folks, is you got the nice little thin water base on the bottom there, or underneath it. You can sit there and mess with these things all day long. You keep moving it, you keep futzing with it and moving it around and everything. When you get it to where you want to, lightly blot it down with a paper towel or a soft cloth or something, because you'll just keep on moving it and moving it and moving it. Once you get to where you want it, just stop. All right? I messed with this for another 10 minutes. And as it starts to dry out, if you put a little bit more water onto it, it'll allow you to move it some more. But just be careful, get it to where you need it, and then leave it alone. I finally did get it to where I wanted it, and then I had to walk away from it. Now let these dry thoroughly, and then you're going to put a nice clear coat over them to protect them. That's looking really, really nice. I'm very happy with that. There we go. That looks sweet. Now we've got all the pieces. Like I said, I did find a metal base for this truck, so I'm going to use that. Got the interior, got the windshield, and got the truck the right orange, or the orange that I wanted. And again, it's not a super fancy paint job, but it looks nice and clean. And this is what we started with. We started with the Chevy Silverado. They're very, very popular for whatever reason, but they're really easy to work with. Nice square bodies, nice flat surfaces to put paint on and to put decals on and like that. But once you do the wheel swaps that you want to and everything, these cars are really, really cool, and they're a lot of fun to play with. And this is what we ended up with. A beautiful 83 Chevy Silverado with the Jägermeister theme. Bright orange paint. We've got a fantastic wheel swap. Those rims go absolutely perfect with this build. The decals provided by KennyTerry.com. They're Waterslide Decals. His work is phenomenal. You won't be sorry that you worked with Kenny, and he gets the work out to you very quick. Guys, it was such a lot of fun building with the Four Horsemen. Keith over there at Outlaw Speed Shop, Javier at Diecast Show Customs, Jeff at 164 Revival. If you haven't subscribed to their page, please do. You won't be sorry. Their builds are absolutely fantastic, and I love working with these guys. If you're coming over to my page for the first time and you haven't subscribed, please do. We all have a lot of great things to share with you when you get into this hobby and you have questions. Don't hesitate to contact us through the comments. I'm happy to answer your questions, and it's a lot of fun. That's why we do these videos. We do these videos to encourage you to get into this hobby yourself and to have a lot of fun. Now, with my other page, Diecast Graveyard, we're going to have a lot of build-offs with the subscribers, and we got one going on right now, so please check that out if you want to join in. This build was a lot of fun, and I keep saying that. I'm excited. Now, to top it all off and to finish it off just right, I got a custom card that I made for this Jägermeister truck. If you're interested in getting something like this, or you want a custom made, don't hesitate to contact me. The website is on the Diecast Graveyard page. That's www.diecastgraveyard@gmail.com. Contact me, and I'll answer your questions as best I can for you. Thanks for joining me here today. I do appreciate you and following me and subscribing to my channel. Like I said, if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to contact me. My name is Paul for the Four Horsemen and Diecast Graveyard. Thank you so much. Have a great day.